mental illness in literature, most people think it's all dark metaphors and tragic endings. But Sylvia Plath's The Bell Jar completely revolutionized how we talk about depression by showing us both the darkness and the sharp wit of a mind under pressure.
That's fascinating how Plath managed to balance those elements. The way she crafted Esther Greenwood's character, this brilliant young woman with everything going for her on paper, challenged the stereotypes of what depression looks like. And
Jerry, what's striking about the novel, the statistics from that era show that in the 1950s, about 7,500 women underwent lobotomies for mental health treatment. The scenes with Dr. Gordon and the electroshock therapy aren't just dramatic flourishes, they're reflecting a terrifying reality.
That context makes those medical scenes even more chilling. And it's worth noting that women were twice as likely as men to receive these treatments.
Well, speaking of gender disparities, there's this fascinating parallel between Esther's experience and modern statistics. Even today, women are 70% more likely to experience depression during their lifetime than men, and the pressure of maintaining a perfect image on social media has only intensified that burden.
That's precisely what makes the bell jar metaphor so relevant today, isn't it? The way Plath describes that feeling of being trapped while watching life through this distorted glass.
Right. And what's particularly interesting is how the novel handles success and achievement. Studies show that high achieving women are more likely to experience imposter syndrome, something Esther struggles with throughout her time at the magazine.
The way she describes that fashion world is so precise, both seductive and suffocating at the same time. How does that connect to modern workplace experiences?
Well, recent surveys show that about 75% of professional women still experience imposter syndrome in their careers. That scene where Esther's surrounded by successful women but feels like she's drowning, that resonates with so many readers today.
And let's not forget how groundbreaking it was for Plath to write about mental health so openly in the 1950s when these topics were completely taboo.
Oh, absolutely. And you know what's fascinating? The novel's publication coincided with the beginning of the modern feminist movement. Betty Friedan's The Feminine Mystique came out in 1963, the same year as another book that tapped into this growing awareness of women's restricted roles.
The timing of that emphasizes how the bell jar was more than just a personal story, it was part of a larger cultural shift.
And speaking of cultural impact, the novel's treatment of food and appetite was revolutionary for its time. The way Esther's relationship with food becomes this powerful metaphor for control and societal expectations, that's something we see reflected in modern discussions about eating disorders and mental health.
That reminds me of how the novel handles the concept of time during depression. The way Plath describes that warped perception feels so authentic.
Exactly, and modern neuroscience has confirmed what Plath was describing. Studies show that depression can alter our perception of time, making minutes feel like hours. It's incredible how accurately she captured that experience without having access to the scientific understanding we have today.
That scientific validation of Plath's descriptions shows how ahead of her time she was in understanding mental health.
And here's something that might surprise people. Despite its heavy themes, about 15% of the novel contains moments of sharp wit and dark humor. That balance is crucial to its impact, which is probably why it continues to sell over 100,000 copies annually.
Those moments of humor make Esther feel so much more real, don't they? It's not just endless darkness. There's this complexity to her character.
Speaking of complexity, let's talk about how the novel ends. Unlike 90% of mental health narratives of its time, it doesn't offer a straightforward cure narrative. Instead, it acknowledges that recovery is ongoing, something that modern mental health professionals strongly emphasize.
That nuanced approach to recovery was ahead of its time, wasn't it?
Absolutely. And recent studies show that this kind of realistic portrayal helps reduce stigma more effectively than triumph over adversity stories. It's why the bell jar remains so relevant in mental health education today.
Looking at all these connections between then and now, it's remarkable how many of these issues we're still grappling with.
You know what's particularly striking? A recent survey showed that 72% of young readers say they relate to Esther's struggles with identity and expectations, proving that while the specific pressures might have changed, the core conflict between individual identity and societal expectations remains incredibly relevant.
That's such a powerful testament to why this book continues to resonate with new generations.
And perhaps that's the most important legacy of the bell jar. It doesn't just tell us about mental health in the 1950s, it continues to help us understand these experiences today, showing us both how far we've come and how far we still have to go.